Um, on Ethereum stuff, what do you think is the biggest research question that, as a community, we need to solve now?
I feel like there aren't that many research questions left at this point. Like, I feel like
Just a product question.
all of the important stuff at this point is like a software development and optimization question, right? So, like, as an example, proof of stake, we know how to do proof of stake. We just have to get it out there. Sharding, we have been, I think, fairly settled on the question of like how sharding works, like, you know, the concepts of like data availability sampling and how to do execution and all these things. The question is now just like actually implementing them. ZK snarks, we know that you can ZK snark anything, but if you want to ZK snark, say, the Ethereum blockchain, by the way, for those of us who don't know, a ZK snark is basically a way to cryptographically prove that you ran some program and that program had a particular output without revealing what the data is that you're doing a computation on, and where the proof is much easier to verify than doing the computation yourself, right? So, like, one example would be, I can personally like run a an Ethereum, like a program, like basically an Ethereum node that verifies the entire Ethereum blockchain, and then I can make a big proof that says I did this, and the program told me that all the blocks are correct. And then if anyone else wants to be convinced that the entire Ethereum blockchain is valid, they don't have to go and check it themselves. They can just verify my proof, which is like really easy to see, right? So really amazing technology. We know how it works. We know how to use it, but there's still like a whole bunch of annoying optimizations that have to be done to make it practical. One area of like really not fully solved research questions would be the MEV and like transaction ordering space. So this is basically like, you know, there are large incentives to be very kind of like put a lot of effort and a lot of resources into figuring out like which transactions could you include into the next block first in order to get as much profit as possible. Like, you know, it could be arbitraging between different exchanges. So like one very simple example might be, let's say right now the price of ETH to ETH to DAI is about 32.20, and let's say one block from now the price on Binance jumps up to 32.30, but then the price on Uniswap is still 32.20, right? So if you can get the first transaction in, you can just immediately claim that difference and you can make a bit of money off of that, right? So basically, like, fully understanding like this phenomenon and figuring out how to prevent that from being a risk that could centralize the blockchain space is like, there has been a lot of thinking, but it's still one of those spaces where there could be more thinking. So
Flashbots just become our rulers. We all must bow to the Flashbot gods.
I mean, I guess. Well, hopefully, in our ideal world, we will have an amazing decentralized Flashbots. And the whole thing is not just going to be something that like gives a couple of $1 million to like some random mining pool or VC firm somewhere. I don't know. I think I'm optimistic.
Fair enough. So if you don't think there are too many research questions and it's software and technical optimization, what do you think the biggest product hurdles that wallets need to overcome, like the biggest user experience hurdles for crypto?
The one kind of drum that I always bang on is like wallet security, and particularly things like multi-sig and social recovery. So once again, for I guess listeners that are not familiar. So most crypto wallets, so the way they work is you have one private key, right? It's like a number. It's about 32 digits long, or 32 bytes long, and your computer stores the number. If you lose that number, then you lose your account forever. If someone else gets your number, like whether they hack into your computer or whatever, then they can basically steal everything you have. So the alternatives, one of them is multi-sig, where you create an account that has, like, let's say, for example, 3 keys. And one of those keys is on your laptop, one of those keys is on your phone, and a third key might be like owned by some like institution or owned by a friend. And you need 2 out of those 3 keys to actually transfer any funds, right? So like normally you just sign everything with your laptop and your phone and you're fine. But if you lose one of those devices, then you can appeal to, you know, the institution or your friend or whoever else, and they can kind of recover the wallet for you. Or alternatively, if this institution or your friend or whoever you're trusting for the 3rd key decides to betray you, they can't actually do anything for themselves by themselves because they need 2 keys and you have the laptop and the phone. So that's multi-sig. Social recovery basically says you have an account, and then you're going to choose a list of what we call guardians. So guardians, once again, they could be friends, they could be institutions, and you have like some number of guardians, and you need more than half of those guardians. More than half of those guardians have the ability to recover your account, right? So, like for example, like I do this with my cold wallet, right? Like I have 6 guardians, and these are like just you know, trusted individuals who do not know who each other are, and 4 out of 6 of them can kind of sign off on a transaction. So basically the idea here, right, is that like in the centralized world, there's a lot of these conveniences, like there is this concept of account recovery, right? Like if you lose your account, then like in theory you can appeal to some authority, and like it's complicated, but you can get your account back. I mean, in crypto, like right now, it's this very kind of relatively scary thing where you have to deal with either this constant risk that you'll lose everything, or if you kind of try to overcompensate for that, then you have a higher risk that everything gets stolen. And I believe in these 2 ideas. I wrote an article on social recovery. If you go to my blog, vitalik.ca, then you can scroll down and there's one called, I think if you just like Control F for the phrase social recovery, you'll find it. But I talk about these ideas, and I talk about why they're important. It's the projects that are actually doing them. So, oh, there we go. Amazing. Yeah. So there are some technical barriers to making this really easy to use for Ethereum people, but like I've been pushing some efforts to make some of those technical barriers smaller or go away, or like get past them in various ways. So
how do you?
Yeah, that is what.
How do you think application-specific wallets play into this concept? Because when you have this multi-authenticated transaction, like it's really hard to do anything. But if crypto is going to be part of our daily life, like how can you reduce your risk profile in other ways? I know I guess it's EIP 1775. I don't know if that's a real thing or if there's another one. Taylor from My Crypto recently was talking about essentially being able to control, use one wallet to kind of do an action on another wallet, and how that could blend together to reduce your risk profiles.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is part of the usability challenge, right? Like, I think realistically, wallets are going to need to have like different addresses, where some of those addresses are social recovery addresses, so you can still like sign and send things with one key, and then some of those addresses will be like full-on multi-sig vaults, where you need like these multiple people to sign off to do anything. And obviously, the high-value stuff goes in the vaults, and then the low-value stuff goes in the social recovery. And that is figuring out how to present that to the user well is definitely a challenge. I mean, figuring out how to present lots of things well to the user is a challenge. Like the user experience of getting better privacy is another significant challenge going forward as well.
Ledger, I loved that, because you was like trying to explain an EIP, and you was like, I could tell you were nervous, but you made it through. You explained your point. I enjoyed it.
UpOnly.